Hi, my name is Summer Davis. I'm a senior volleyball student at Agnes Scott College, and I had the pleasure of participating in the NCAA Student Immersion Program. So I've actually had the pleasure of participating in the convention twice. So this time around, I really found myself, it kind of really showed me like how unique Division III is in athletics in general. I think there's so many different like bylaws and clauses and just like philosophy statements that I never really like when you're a student, you never really like get into that kind of stuff. So I think attending convention, it was really nice to kind of see the whole like governing process again and how they like vote on things and how people can like, state their opinions and everything. And I think even though we're Division III, there's still some like really complicated processes and like problems that we still face that like just like any other division. There's a lot. This question is kind of hard. But I think kind of generally speaking, we really talked to a lot of great speakers and they had some really great advice from like topics ranging from just like how to be a good leader and like what kind of qualities you need to have in yourself to be a good leader, and to things like what to say in your first 10 seconds of like your elevator pitch before you talk to someone. So I think we learned a really lot, good, valuable information that we can kind of really use in our everyday lives. And I think something else that was memorable was just being surrounded by other student athletes, like from all parts of the country. Like we all came from different backgrounds, different schools, like different families. But I think we can all kind of share the same struggles when it comes to being a student athlete and what that entails. But we kind of still are like working toward the same goals and like aspirations in life. So I think something else is really important to remember, that like people that were in our cohort will become like valuable resources in the future. Like I might call on a friend that I made in the cohort to like give me some advice on this, or they might have a job offering that I might need, like they might be future like athletic directors and associate ADs. So I think just like meeting the people in our cohort and kind of forming a connection was really experience. About Division III, just knowing that there's kind of always work being done on the back end and the forefront to kind of help student athletes balance both the student part of their lives and the athlete part of our lives, and just like combining that to kind of make our college experience. And I think that's really something that I found that Division III like makes it really special and sets us apart from other divisions. For kind of personal and professional development, I think the program really gave me a good opportunity to kind of like see how to hold myself in like a professional standard, if you will, because I think we had to dress super professional every day and just meet people like we don't usually talk to that often, and kind of attend meetings and take notes. So I think those type of practices are something that will really be useful in the future. And since I don't kind of get that practice in my everyday life, it was really kind of good to go to convention and kind of do those things for like 4 or 5 days straight. I think that'll be really helpful in the future. And something valuable about a career in Division III, I think just kind of remembering that keeping student athletes as a priority is something that should be like a driving factor in anybody who works in any division, but especially Division III, because we have that, like student focus before athletes. So I think just doing the best to keep student athlete well-being at the forefront is important. So I think the program has really helped me kind of just shed light on various roles and just careers I can get into in athletics, because even though I'm a senior, I'm kind of one of those seniors that doesn't really know what I want to do after I graduate. So I think going to a convention has really helped me just like meet people from different career fields and kind of just learn more about like the like small details that you won't really find like on the internet about specific careers. And I think something that I kind of found interest in is mental health and how it's like a big part of our society now. And I think I found a strong interest in kind of just student athlete well-being in general. And I think throughout convention, I have like seen that there's a really big need for people who want to go into that field and to help student athletes. So I think that's something like kind of the most thing I found useful out of convention. Me being so unsure, I think meeting the people that I did meet was very helpful to kind of just like, because everyone's path is different. So really seeing like what path you took to become athletic director, and like that might not be the same path as someone else. So I think just hearing like the kind of personal stories from people and how they got to where they got really helped me like be hopeful, I guess, about the future, like not knowing what I want to do, but knowing that there's also a way that you can like still make it without having an actual plan. I think the student immersion program specifically had a really big impact on diversity. I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind is kind of just bringing all these different student athletes from all parts of the country. Like we have people in our program from Florida to California to New York, from Minnesota, like all across the country. And so I think even though those places are all different, like we all have our differences, I think the specific thing is our differences is what kind of makes us stronger and helps us create a more like empowering environment for athletics in general, and just being around people in a team environment. I think um, bringing in differences is good, and I think that like that should be something that could be done all the time to help people kind of feel more comfortable just doing the work I'm called to do. And I think just making everyone around me kind of feel like they belong. I never want anyone to kind of feel like they're an outcast, or our, history of the United States has been, there's been enough of that. So we kind of need to do everything we can to kind of bring everyone together despite our differences. And I think just letting that be kind of a driving factor can be something that can like be very beneficial for the future career in athletics or just in life in general. Yeah, so I met this wonderful lady at a reception, and she was really great. She was the associate athletic director of Claflin University. And we didn't really talk about anything specific, but we kind of just talked about just life in general, and just like her experiences, like what I was saying, like her path of getting to associate athletic director. Like that's not really something she saw in her future, but it kind of just like that's what called her um, to be in that position. I think we really talked about just like her experience of being a Black woman in athletics in general and how navigating the challenges of that. So we kind of bonded over that. And I think that's something that really needs to be talked about more. And like we need more Black women in athletics. So I'm of having diversity in athletics in higher up positions. And I think another connection was just we talked to two NCAA interns. They were two guys who were around our same age. So it was really nice to kind of see how these two young men, they're like 22, 23, and how they're really doing like really big things within the organization, and how like they were in our shoes like not too long ago, a couple of years. So it's really refreshing to see like how our generation is really like stepping up to these leadership positions and kind of just holding their own ground within like the adult world, if you will. I would say just do it. Like I don't want to sponsor Nike or anything, but I think just doing it, just applying, there's literally no harm in going. I think there's so many great ways to benefit from this program. Um, Everything you learn there is valuable. Even if you don't go into a career in athletics, I think you can always find something useful that you can take back and kind of apply to like your everyday life. And it's just a great opportunity to like learn more about athletics and just meet people, build your network and work on your networking skills. And just meet some amazing people in athletics and amazing people in general that you can kind of call on in the future if you ever need something. And it's free. I mean, if that's not an incentive, I don't know what is. You get to travel, eat for free, hotel, like all the works, and it's still like a learning experience. So I think like for someone who's just a little bit unsure about applying, or you should just do it. There's no harm in it, and I think that it is a great opportunity for anyone, actually.